Welcome to today's webinar, courtesy of the Kentucky Small Business Development Center in Louisville. Discover no-cost, valuable business services to help you thrive, whether starting your entrepreneurial journey or scaling your existing business. We have the resources and expertise to help you succeed. For more information, please visit our website or text 502-977-5800. Thank you for joining us today. Feel free to use the chat feature to ask questions or engage with our speaker. Let's get started.
Hey, welcome everybody. Thanks for joining us tonight for another webinar from the Louisville SBDC. We have some great guests tonight. We get a lot of people coming in here and asking about, starting a restaurant and or growing the restaurant. So when people ask me about what's their first step in exploring the options and launching a food business is, I always say, make the public health and wellness department your new best friend, because that's where you got to start. You really have to understand what it takes from a permitting standpoint to get things going. So we're joined by some great guests tonight, Megan Zabel and Maya Ung from the Louisville Metro Public Health and Wellness Department. And it's their job to make sure that the food we eat in the restaurants is safe and everybody's doing the right thing. I'm also joined with my good friend and co-workers, Janet Flaw and Claire Bridges. Hello, everyone.
Good evening.
So, well, Megan and Maya, I think we'll just turn over to you because you guys are the star of the show tonight, and we'll just kind of dive right in. And as we go through this evening, if you have any questions or comment, just put them in the chat and we'll get right to them. This is a good opportunity for you to ask your specific questions to some people that you need to know. And then Megan and Maya, maybe you could put your contact info in the chat so people can have it. They could reach out to you with some other questions they have, later on. If you're like me, I'll watch something, then I'll forget everything that was said, and it'd be great to reach out to you guys. So if you want to share your screen and dive right in, we'll get started.
All right. And all of our information will be in the slides, but I will put everything that we need in the chat also.
Okay. Yeah, and we'll send everybody a copy of this recording, and any information that you guys want to share with us, we'll share with everybody that's here tonight.
Okay. Can you see my screen?
Looks great.
Okay. All right. So today we're going to be talking about the food service permitting process from our local public health and wellness department in Louisville, Kentucky. So the Louisville Metro Public Health and Wellness Department is a nationally accredited, independent, and academic health department committed to improving the health and wellness of all Louisville residents and visitors. We are responsible for 17 areas covering all Louisville Metro, and we inspect over 4,000 establishments. So the objectives of this presentation today is to explain types of permits, explaining permitting processes, and requirements for restaurants, food trucks, and temporary permits. So what permits do I need? All establishments selling and or preparing food for the public to buy or consume are required to have a permit. So listed here are some of the food service establishments, which are grocery stores or convenience stores, temporary food operations. So if you're wanting to do a festival, you would have to get a temporary permit. There's food trucks and carts, like a hot dog cart. You have commissary kitchens. And then if you are a home-based or micro-processing business, you do have to get a certificate from the state health department. So this is just an example of our website. I can click on this real quick just to show you how to find this information. But this is our website link, and I will put this in the chat also. Okay, can you see this website?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, just making sure. Okay, so, and if you don't have the website link, all you have to do is type in louisvilleky.gov, and it'll take you to our home screen, And then in this search box, you will just put in food safety, and then it'll say welcome to food safety, and you will just click on that link. So you'll click on this link to get to this page. So it shows you all the different permits that you'll need, but this is where you want to start the food service operators, and this will show you how to take your steps to get your permit. So you'll just press on this link, and it'll take you to our plan review website. And plan review is the very first department that you will need to speak to. It's the very first step in getting your permits and getting all of the information needed to start your business. So then you'll press onto this link, and then it'll take you more in depth on what you need to do. But I can always, and the number for plan review is here, so you can always call us and we'll answer any of your questions. So we'll continue. So this is kind of just what I said. So steps to complete before opening, you have to do an application to our plan review department, and that is what you can find on that link. And you'll have to generate a floor plan, which our plan review department needs to see as well with your application. And you can also email that to this email. And then after the plans are approved by plan review, it'll go to state plumbing. And then once state plumbing has viewed your plumbing and given you a green sticker, which we'll talk about later, then you can call us, our food department, and we'll go and inspect your restaurant or food truck. So this is just more about, okay, this is just more about what the plan review department is. The plan review section reviews commercial and residential plans in Louisville Metro. Plans are reviewed for public buildings, sewers, wastewater treatment plants, mobile home parks, swimming pools, food service establishments, and residential property not served by sewers. And plan review's approval is required before a plumbing permit, food service permit, or a building permit can be issued. This assures that a lot or project has both water and a sewage disposal method available. So this is an example of a floor plan, and your floor plan can look a little more simpler than this if needed. And there's also apps or websites that you can go to that I'll show you later that helps you create these. So you will need to do a floor plan of your kitchen. So the food prep area, cooking, refrigeration, hot holding, dishwashing, and food storage. You'll need a hand washing sink, a 3-compartment sink, a mop sink, and a prep sink. You'll have to draw out the seating area and where the restroom will be in the dining area. And then you will also list, it can be numbered, or you can just flat out write everything down of all the equipment that will be used. And then if you do have more questions, you can always email the plan review department and they'll tell you what you are missing. So important food permit information. A food permit must be obtained to operate. So you'll receive a state and local permit. So you'll get 2 papers, but you will only pay one price, and that is the combined state and local fee, which will be explained later. Permits are required whether you sell food or provide it for free of charge. Permits are non-transferable from one owner to another. So that just means if you are owning a business right now, but you don't want to own that business anymore, and the new manager or new owner comes in, they have to get their own permit in their own name. They cannot use yours. And you have to get a new permit annually anyways, but if you are transferring owners, definitely see the plan review department because that is the first step. And then all new plumbing or plumbing changes must be approved and inspected by Louisville Metro Public Health and Wellness and the Kentucky State Division of Plumbing. And then MSD approves grease traps. So if you are going to be a nonprofit organization, which are known as fee-exempt permits, you will have to bring a document signed with letterhead of your company with your company logo, which also states that your company contains more than 50% of workers who are volunteers. And then if you have any more questions, you can reach out to plan review. So this is an example of a requirement of your hand washing facility. So you'll need a hand sink. You'll have to have a hand washing sign. You'll need to use paper towels or foam or liquid soap. So with paper towels, you want to use something that can be disposed of. And once you wash your hands, you want to be able to turn off the sink with the paper towel, not your hands. You can use your elbow. Just anything that touches the food, you do not want to use to turn off the sink. So required food safety equipment. So that means you'll need a thermometer. You'll also need a thermometer in your refrigerator unit or in coolers to make sure that your cooling station stays at the proper temperature. You'll need hand soap and disposable paper towels, hair restraints and gloves and/or utensils to prevent bare hand contact from ready-to-eat foods. So, if you are serving time temperature control for safety foods, so TCS foods, you must have a thermometer to check temperature. And this just means that a TCS food is anything that is not shelf stable and needs to be refrigerated before or after opening, and just make sure that it's at the right temperature so you don't get sick. So, a certified food manager is a certification that you have to get. Well, at least one person has to have in the kitchen at all times. We do provide an online class, and it is $35. And it is valid for 3 years. There is also a link that I will put in the chat, but you can also find it on our website. So, also, if you are currently certified in ServSafe, a certified professional food manager, or National Registry for Food Safety, you will need to pay $35 and transfer your certificate to Louisville Metro. So that's if you get it not in our county, I am pretty sure. We can answer that more later if there are more questions about that. So this is an example of the 3-compartment sink that you should have always in your truck, in your food truck and or restaurant. You have to have a wash, rinse, and sanitize station. And then also next to the sanitize is the hand washing station. So there's also a sanitizing method, your sanitizers that are required. You can have chlorine, quaternary ammonia, or lactic acid as your sanitizer, and you also need to have the test strips to make sure that your sanitizer is at the proper numbers. And then these are the proper numbers it should be at, and then this shows where the color should be and where the sanitizing concentration should be. Now, do you have a pest management plan? A pest control is not required per current FDA food code. However, a plan is necessary to keep business clean, keeping all areas in your facility clean, where it will attract insects and pests. If you do have insects or pests, rodents, birds, please let your health department know so we can fix it. And we just want to make sure that the food is not contaminated and gets everyone sick. So this is an example So this is a chemical. These chemicals or cleaning products should never be above food or next to food. They should be in their own place, and they should always be labeled. This is an example of labeled containers, labeled toxins, so you don't accidentally spray sanitizer on food when you need water, vice versa. So this information is about how to start a food truck business, and we will go more in depth. So to have a food truck, it is the same process as opening a restaurant. You have to go to plan review first, then you have to get your plumbing checked by the state plumbing. So you will submit a plumbing application. You'll submit the floor plans. You'll submit your plumbing riser. You'll also submit your proposed menu and then your sinks, tanks, and water heater. You will need a freshwater tank and a wastewater tank, and all of that will be explained a little bit later. And then this is also a website that you can go to. It's just our plan review website that will tell you more. So this is the plan review email, and then this is also where our office is located. So if you ever needed to mail or come see us in person, we are on the second floor. Okay. So this is what our fees are. So you have your state fees. So for a self-contained food service mobile unit, altogether to get a state and local permit, it is $285. And then for a restricted food concession, it's $155. And then for a mobile retail permit, it's $115. Our prices did raise $5 for this year, but that should not be too bad compared to some other things. So when you get your permit, for your state permit, you are allowed to operate statewide. But if you want to, go to a festival or do any business in Louisville Metro in Jefferson County, you do have to get a local food permit. So then all food, for a food truck, for a kitchen on wheels, all food must be prepared on site with the food truck unless a permitted commissary kitchen is utilized. No food may be prepared at home. And then also restrooms must be available and accessible near the area of operation. So for a self-contained mobile unit, food must be prepared all on site unless operator has a permitted commissary kitchen, like we said. You must have a 3-compartment sink, fresh and waste water tanks, and then all plumbing must be done by a master plumber and approved by the Division of Plumbing, so by the state plumbing. A food truck is inspected twice a year. ABC it will give you a placard. ABC is our alcohol beverage, and I think it's just control. I should probably know that. But they will go, that is where you get your vending permit. So you will have to get your vending permit before you can get a food inspection with us. And then you also need to get your plumbing approved also. And then a certified food manager does have to be in the truck at all times. So for a mobile retail unit, all items should be packaged from a permitted facility or purchased from a supplier. It is inspected once a year. It is pre-packaged items only. There's a no placard required. Must have cold, hot units to maintain temperature, and is required equipment, which is thermometers. This is an example of a food truck floor plan, and it, as you see here, it shows you what is labeled, and this is also an example of what you can do at a restaurant. And then here, these are the floor plan websites that I was talking about that can help you make these. And this is also a little information saying your wastewater tank must be 50% larger than your freshwater. And then this is an example of your wastewater and your freshwater tanks. I'll just let you look at that for a minute. Okay. And then this is also an example of a plumbing application and a riser diagram. And then this is what you will submit to plan review also. So this is what I was talking about for a green sticker. This sticker is what the Kentucky State Plumbing Inspector will give you once they inspect your plumbing and it is good to go. And this is what food inspectors will look for when inspecting your food truck or your restaurant, because this means that you have proper hot and cold running water, your refrigerating units are ready, and then everything is just working correctly. And then here's our number for the food safety program. You just put 502 in front of the 574 to schedule an appointment with your opening inspector. And for each area, there is a different inspector. So you will may have a different inspector than someone else, in a different area. So before the food inspectors will come out and inspect you, you have to have a fire code inspection. So food trucks must be in compliance with the local fire code. You should contact the fire department where you will be parking your truck or trailer, which we also have a list of the fire departments, but you also can just look up your neighborhood fire department and they can come and check out your trailer. Well, the certain people. And then contact ABC for your special permits or vendor's license. And then alcohol is not allowed to be sold from mobile units. So this is a restricted food cart, as in a hot dog cart. And we will also show you what foods can and cannot, or can be produced at a restricted food cart. So they can only prepare certain food items. So it's inspected once a year. They need a hand wash set up, and they also need to be able to clean their utensils. So they need a 3-bucket basin, a wash, rinse, sanitize setup. If plumbing, they must be approved by the Kentucky Division of Plumbing. So this is the food that they can produce, and you will need a yearly permit for this. So you can do pre-cooked, commercially processed hot dogs, frankfurters, and similar meats such as bratwurst and Italian sausage. You can do roasted peanuts, almonds, pecans, and walnuts without the shell, pre-packaged, commercially processed snack foods, shelf-stable, pre-packaged baked goods, shaved ice, flavored ice, and snow cones that use commercially prepared prepackaged flavor dispensers that are replaced when empty, prepackaged ice cream and popsicles, and then prepackaged sandwiches, nacho chips and cheese, pork rinds, and cotton candy. And then these restricted food service stands, they can either be fixed or mobile. And okay, so when you are doing a temporary event, so if, for example, on here there's World Fest or the State Fair, you will need a state and local temporary permit, and they will have to be shown on your windows or wherever an inspector can see that to make sure you do have your permits. And all you will do is apply. We have a website. On our website, you can apply for a temporary permit, and all you do is just pay the state and local fees. And then your truck will be inspected by inspectors at the festival. So these are just the fees for the temporary food service. So if you're doing 1 to 3 days, it is $145. 4 to 7 days, it's $175, and then 8 to 14 days is $210, and then all fees are non-refundable. So this is an example of a to-go hand washing setup. So you have to have, water, you need a spigot, and you need a bucket to take the water that is coming out of the spigot, and you need soap and paper towels. So these are just examples of the proper way to do that, and then there would be a bucket under this one. So this is an example of a dishwashing, warewashing setup. So you need to have a wash, rinse, and sanitize. And then your buckets need to be as big as your largest utensil or pan, pot. And then you also have to have sanitizer, which should right here. You can have the quat, or you can do the lactic acid, what we listed earlier. So this is just what I said, the 3-bucket basin warewashing setup for temporary food service stands. It should be labeled and big enough to fit 1/2 of your largest pan or utensil. Have a clean surface such as a small table for air drying pots, pans, and utensils. So this is an example of a food truck this looks like our state fair. So your plumbing, your freshwater, wastewater lines and tanks should be properly installed and maintained. If you do not have proper installment of these tanks, you can be shut down until it is fixed, or you will just need to be shut down for the whole thing if it is not something that can be fixed. So this is also where to put your waste. So vendors are responsible for proper disposal of their waste. So at the state fair, you're in one place, and sometimes the event will have like a place where you can do your waste, or it will have a company that will come pick up your waste. It just depends on where you are. But always have a plan. You can't dump it out on the ground. You can't dump your grease on the ground. That is something we will shut you down for. Because it is a violation. You will be cited for the violation, possibly temporarily closed. So, and then it tells you how the events will sometimes have it arranged for you. This is an example of a large wastewater tank for multiple food stands. So you see that there's no mess around it. It's all being contained properly. And then this is the contacts for our food service, for Louisville MSD, for grease trap sewer wastewater, for the Kentucky Division of Plumbing, and then the ABC for your vendor's permit. And then that was kind of a fast presentation, but this is also our food safety program information. And then this is my information. If you need to reach out and ask even more questions, do not hesitate to ask. And now I'm opening the floor to questions. So I'm going to take off the presentation, and I can always come back to the presentation if needed.
Okay, we got some killer questions here. But I do have one question, like, how can you guys get around to inspecting 4,000 restaurants in a year? I mean, that's mind-boggling.
Yes. Maya, you can help me with the number at least, but I think we have one inspector per area, and then since you only get inspected maybe once or twice a year, it's kind of on a rotation basis. So they should be able to get around to you. And then how many inspectors do we have? Is it 17?
Yeah, that's correct. We had 17
Okay.
inspectors, and each inspector has about average 250 establishment
Wow.
that they're responsible for. Sometimes it could be up to 300 facility. And then big event like state fair, we also got help from the state. So state will have their inspector come out and help us out because we do have to inspect the state fair every day.
Yeah. What about food trucks? I mean, how do you chase those guys down?
It's kind of hard. So if you have any idea, please let me know. So we do tend to follow them on the social media, things like that. And then
So you stalk them is what you're saying.
And then, usually we'll find them at big events, things like that, because they tend to be doing business at that kind of area. And a lot of them, we do see them often at downtown locations as well.
Angela has a really crazy question here. So
Yes, I am reading her question right now, and everything that has to do with a sauna or a cold plunge, you'll have to reach out to our public facilities supervisor, which I will put. His name is Jake Gardner. I'll put his information in the chat, but they are the ones that deal with the saunas and cold plunges.
let me read her question so we have it on the video here. So
Yeah.
She says, I'm a new small business offering mobile sauna and cold plunge services, and every person I have spoken to in the process of attempting to obtain premises, license, etc., doesn't know what to do with me as they haven't ever dealt with a mobile service like mine. They have all been focused on food industry. She also says, we have many beautiful parks and people who have formed hiking groups, which have reached out to me asking if I would be there for them at the end of a long day of hiking as a recovery service. But what if we're not a food service? So.
Yes. So that's our public facilities department, and we all work together. But I'm gonna put his information in the chat. And you can also find all of our information on our website. You would just type in public facilities instead of food safety in the search bar.
So Meg says, I'm a Kentucky licensed home-based processor and certified food manager, and all of my food is made and packaged in my home kitchen. Nothing is prepared on site. I've been told I may need a mobile vending license and fire inspection. Now, how I was told by ABC that they now require all home food-based processors to be licensed as a food truck. Can you clarify that?
You might want to get that one.
Yeah, so with the home-based process alignment, I can help with that. I guess I have a few more questions for this person. Are they
Okay.
selling it on the table, or do they have a trailer or truck? How are they selling all their products?
Okay, that's a good clarification, yeah.
Okay.
So there
If
you
you-
go. It's all sold out of a 10 by 10 tent.
Okay, so if they're selling on the tank, fire department inspection is not necessary. However, she might want to double check with the local fire department because we don't have a regulation over fire. But as far as up to my knowledge, fire department inspection won't be necessary. However, because we are all operating in Jefferson County, ABC require a different vendor permit, so it will be up to ABC whether she require one or not.
Yeah. So Meg, I guess you're at a farmer's market maybe on the weekend.
I'm sorry.
perhaps?
Mhm.
Asking her to put that in there, Meg.
She is, yeah. We work together, so I know that she has private orders, but then also at times would like to pop up at different events. Yeah, farmers
Mhm.
markets, events throughout each month, and making sure she has the right permits to do so.
Okay.
So would you all be able to list in the chat the permits she would need to sell out of the tent?
So she have a home-based processor license, so that's good enough. As she just need to make sure she carry that with her. So if we were to stop by,
Okay.
she had to be able to show us that she had the permit
Okay.
that she can
But she
sell.
wouldn't need like one of the temporary 1 to 3 day
No, because
licenses?
she's selling directly to the consumer, so her home-based processor license is good enough. She just got to
Okay.
make sure she follow the rules and regulations from the State Department. So need to make sure everything labeled properly the way how they want her to label.
Okay.
I had somebody come to me, they wanted to build a commissary kitchen that they would not operate. They would just rent out to like food trucks and things like that. Do they need to have an on-site food handler, food manager on site, even though they're not going to be the
That's a
ones
good question.
doing the work? And they're just renting space?
So in Jefferson County, you don't need to have a food handler license. We just require one person with food manager certification has to be on site at our operation. So just one person will be enough.
So
And
you could say like if the food trucks renting the kitchen, they would need to have their own
that's
food
correct.
manager on site. Okay.
Mhm.
But the operator of the facility would not
Does
need
not.
She's just running it out, correct?
Yes.
that. Correct.
Yeah, then it won't fall under her.
Okay. That's a good question.
Yeah.
Oh. How do you find out what inspector is in charge of your area or district in town to say, do a walkthrough before submitting a plan or asking questions about a build out or something?
So honestly, the best thing to do is contact me or I'm one of the program supervisor. So I oversee the east side of Louisville, and then we also have the other supervisor. She oversee the west side of the Louisville. Because sometimes the way that how we have our area divided can be a little tricky. So it's easier if you can give me the address, and then we can tell you the contact information, so that way you get the right inspector.
Perfect.
Let's go back to the pest control because I've seen a lot of pest things. I mean, what's the don'ts to do? Like, if you have a pest problem, you call a pest control company, but like on a food truck, when there's a bunch of flies out there or insects, what do you do in the moment, or what shouldn't you do?
So my first question with the pest control would be, how often are they cleaning, the facility, how often are they doing deep cleaning of the equipment, things like that. So if you have a good routine clean schedule of, deep cleaning equipment thing around the facility, you don't normally have that kind of problem. Sometimes build up, they like that kind of they like that kind of stuff. And also, are you having a lot of gap in between doorway? Because well, they don't need a lot of space. Just tiny little hole they can squeeze in before you know it. So make sure you seal up all your gap holes, things like that, and then make sure you do a routine cleaning of your facility. Stay on top of that. Should be able to help with that pest control. Like Megan said, we don't require you guys to have a pest control company hire. However, it is recommended you have some kind of action plan going so that way we're never in the case that we had to come out and then see all the infestation going on that lead to for us to shut down the facility.
Right. Yeah. Wow. I think I know this, but like what I've seen you're talking about like the food carts and the packaged foods. What about like ice cream? I've had somebody ask about an ice cream truck the other day, and that's totally different, right?
Ice
That,
cream, is it something, do they actually like selling like prepackaged ice
packaged,
cream or
yeah,
is that something like they actually scoop it?
yeah, packaged ice cream.
That would be, we will give them a permit called mobile retail permit.
Okay.
Okay.
We inspect that those mobile retail permit once a year, and I believe it's like $115. Please don't quote me on that. I can't remember the number on top of my head.
Okay.
And what about I have had this business idea come pretty frequently from my clients of a mobile bartending service or a like food truck that's built out as a bar service. Is that possible? And what are the requirements for that?
As of right now, if you're doing if you're serving alcohol on the food truck, that's not, we don't issue permit for that. So,
What if they were going to like an event venue, like say for a wedding or something, and they had like a fancy built out food truck where they were providing the bar service for a specific event for a wedding? Would that just be like a catering permit
that
for
probably can be a catering
liquor
permit in that
license?
case.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. But I know they can't go park, on downtown
yeah,
Louisville and serve
exactly.
alcohol out of the truck. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Great.
Yeah.
Um,
Angela likes you to wants to know if you could put the link to the public facilities department. Um,
Yeah, I tried to go online and find the sauna part, but I guess they didn't upload that yet.
okay.
But I put his email on there,
Oh, I see
so
it.
she
Yeah.
can just
There you
reach
go.
out to him
okay.
Okay.
via email. And then did
Cool.
we answer Hannah's question about she does charcuterie?
Oh no.
Oh, we didn't see that
Okay,
one.
she said, what about permitting for a charcuterie business? I work out of my home and set up charcuterie boards and grazing tables at businesses and homes.
Okay. Yeah, answer that one.
For
Oh
charcuterie,
yeah.
it's a little different because I need to see what kind of ingredient that she's using. And if you have any cheese meat, that you're gonna be using it, then unfortunately we won't be able to give out the home-based processor license. So in that case, then she will need to have a commercial kitchen and get a food permit.
I see.
Okay.
Okay. Excellent. That was a good question.
Thank you for the links on the like the CAD drawings to be able to put together
Yeah,
um,
that's helpful.
those kitchen plans because I've seen some
Oh,
hand-drawn ones that aren't
Yeah.
very
yes.
easy to
They'll
read.
take they'll take almost anything, but if they can't read it, they won't take it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I've submitted hand drawings before and they took
Hmm.
it. So I've always appreciated that.
And then when they do submit, or is there a time before the formal submission where they can say, is this all correct before we formally submit?
Um, yes. Well, you honestly could just formally submit it. I mean, they'll still have you on an email chain. Like they'll
Okay.
be in contact with you during the whole process. So if something is missing, they will either call you or email you
Okay.
saying you need to change this.
And
So
then you have the opportunity to go back
yeah, so
and
you don't have to pay, like you don't have to keep paying to,
okay.
you know, yeah.
Hmm.
So they'll let you know.
Awesome.
So Meg says, as a home-based processor, is a catering permit necessary if I have weddings asking me to set up and leave the desserts on a table for them? I am not staying to serve the items. I have heard mixed messages and would love clarification.
So as long as the dessert, like cakes, as long as they don't need to be refrigerated, as long as she's not using, real buttercream, things like that, she is more than welcome to set up at the event, without the catering license. Because
Okay,
she's selling directly to the consumer. As long as she don't use a third party to sell her products, then
Mm,
catering permit is not necessary.
awesome.
great.
Meg, you got some great questions. Yeah, you and Angela.
Yeah.
Great. Anything else? I don't think we missed anything. Claire, do you have any questions that's popped into your head through our discussion?
The couple that, the one about serving alcohol is one that I get asked a lot. And then,
Yeah, I've gotten that too.
yeah, so, and if they are going for the catering liquor license, would that first go through the ABC department?
Yeah, we anything that has to do with alcohol, you will have to talk to the ABC.
Okay.
What resources do you have? Like if somebody's just in the planning, I'm thinking maybe I'll do a kind of phase. What sort of
Mhm.
resources do you have for them?
Usually I would say go to our website, like the one that Megan pointed out earlier, and then look, we have a ton of information. There's a lot
Mhm.
of information, probably more than what you need to know. But sometimes it can get overwhelmed. In that case, then they're more than welcome to reach out to us. We're always at the office to help out. You can even do a walk-in. Sometimes you might not even need to have need to make an appointment. So, but the best thing is just call us, and then we can
I'll
always
ask.
schedule an appointment as needed.
Yeah, I will say that you guys answer the phone, and I really
You
appreciate
do.
that. Yeah,
Yes.
Thank you.
it's
If
very.
someone is wanting to build out an entire restaurant, so
Mhm,
say the space is just four walls, right? And
mhm,
there's nothing in there yet.
mhm.
Could they consult with you all before they
Sure.
start building so that they don't take, five wrong steps and put the sink
Of
too far away
course,
from
yeah.
the
We actually like that when they call us, especially, the first step should be submit plan to plan review department.
okay.
Sometimes people don't realize that they have to hire a licensed plumber. So sometimes
Hmm.
they happen to hire any plumber. And obviously if the project is not being done by a licensed plumber, state plumbing won't approve that. So we
Sure.
like that when they call us so we can give them all the necessary information that they need.
Okay.
Mhm.
So they can submit their plan review before they even start
Oh yeah,
construction.
that's the right way to go.
Awesome.
So
Mhm.
submit plan first, and then once plan review approve it, we'll notify them with email. At that time, then they can start pulling the permit out from the state permit. Then they can start
Great.
doing the project.
Great.
Yeah. What's y'all's favorite restaurant?
I like them all.
Megan, you were thinking though.
Yeah. I don't know. There's a taco place, Agave and Rye.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
I
yeah,
have
yeah,
come to love their tacos.
yeah.
And they're
Yeah.
close to work, so it's very nice.
Yeah.
But yes, all restaurants are good.
Can't play
Well,
favorites.
yeah.
Yes.
Well, this has been great, you guys. You guys are such a great resource. I really appreciate everything you guys do.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
Well, thank you for reaching out. Yes.
And then are we able to get copies of these slides? So for
Yes.
Yeah, we're gonna.
tonight, as well as us for, ourselves to
Yes, no
refer back
problem.
to it later on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Great. Thank you.
Do
yeah.
you guys have any other questions?
No, it looks like all the
I don't think
questions. I think
so.
you really kind of laid it all out pretty well for everyone. So um, I think the big message, the big takeaway is call first and then,
Yeah.
you know, do your homework and plan and then start doing stuff.
Yes. Thank you all so much. This was
Yeah,
very
thank you very much. This was great and really appreciate it. So, we'll be having some more restaurant stuff coming up soon. So keep your eyes open and thanks for joining us tonight. Janet, thanks for driving the ship as always.
Sure thing.
Okay.
Have
And we
a
will
good
see-
evening, everyone.
Yeah, we will see you guys next time.